It was the winter of 1919 in Toronto, and one of the city's wealthiest and most powerful men was preparing for what should have been an ordinary day. His name was Armbose Small, a millionaire theater owner who had just completed the sale of his vast entertainment empire for an enormous sum of money. Overnight, he had become even richer than before. Friends assumed he would spend the coming years enjoying his fortune. Instead, he vanished without a trace. On December 2, 1919, Small visited his lawyer's office to finalize details related to the sale of his business. Everything seemed normal. Witnesses saw him throughout the day, conducting business and making plans. At some point that afternoon, he left the office. That was the last confirmed sighting of him ever. When Small failed to return home, concern quickly turned into alarm. His wife waited for news, but none came. Days passed, then weeks. There were no ransom notes, no demands for money, and no credible sightings. It was as though one of the most famous men in Canada had simply stepped off the face of the earth. Police launched a massive investigation. Detectives questioned family members, business associates, employees, and rivals. Because Small had recently received a fortune from the sale of his company, many suspected murder. Others believed he might have staged his own disappearance. Rumors spread throughout the country. Some claimed he had fled to the United States. Others insisted he had escaped to Europe under a false identity. A few even believed he had started an entirely new life, somewhere far away. The mystery only deepened when investigators learned that Small had enemies. As a businessman, he had been ruthless and had made plenty of rivals over the years. There were people who stood to gain from his disappearance, and people who might have wanted revenge. Yet despite thousands of interviews and countless leads, police could never find enough evidence to charge anyone. The years rolled on. Sightings continued to trickle in from around the world. One report placed him in New York City. Another claimed he had been seen in Mexico. None of the stories could be verified. No body was ever found. No convincing proof emerged that he had survived. Every theory seemed possible, but none could be proven. As decades passed, the disappearance became one of Canada's greatest mysteries. Historians and investigators revisited the case repeatedly, hoping that some overlooked clue would finally provide an answer. They examined financial records, personal relationships, and old witness statements. Still, the central question remained unanswered. What happened to Armbose Small after he walked out of that office in 1919? More than a century later, nobody knows for certain. Was he murdered by someone seeking revenge or money? Did he orchestrate an elaborate plan to disappear and begin a new life? Or did something entirely unexpected happen in the hours after he was last seen? The truth vanished along with him. And that is what makes the story so fascinating. In a crowded city, in broad daylight, one of the richest and most recognizable men in Canada disappeared forever. No body, no confession, no solution, just a mystery that has endured for more than 100 years.